Had to. It was on there.
Does it hold up?
It does hold up. Josh Brolin is immaculate in that movie.
What a career Josh Brolin had. And so those are ours. What did you watch? And now, let's get into it. Brawl in Cell Block 99. Marcus, as we said, this is one you've been touting. You've been wanting this one.
I have. I think this and Urban Cowboy were the two that...
Yeah. And I think I liked this movie a lot more the second time I saw it. I told you the first time there's a time jump.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep during the time jump. So for me, when he does the drug deal and he goes into that creepy apartment and she tries to, suck him off or whatever, I missed all of that, and I basically woke up when he drove his fancy Dodge Dart or his Dodge Charger and hit it and went into his really nice house.
Yeah.
I was like, what has happened?
What is this man coming home from on this day in his life?
Yeah, when did this happen? Because when you first meet him, they're in this,
right.
Not a
just got canned from his impound job kind of thing.
And it's not a crazy, it's not like a shit house, but it's not a great house. And so I only heard about this movie through you, and it is jarring to watch. It's a unique movie for us because it's one that 2017, right?
Yeah, that's 2017 is when 2015 is when I think the limited theater release came out. I believe it was I'm sorry, it was 2017. October 6th was limited theater release, and then October 13th was on demand. So that was a quick jump.
Yeah.
To
they probably knew that. They probably knew what it was. I mean, I can imagine this being a tough movie to sell.
Oh, yeah. And I wonder kind of what it was, even with the cast that it has, a really top-notch cast.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if, from hearing from Zahler, it sounded like he always wanted Vince Vaughn, too, in the interviews that I've heard, too, and everything as well. But, I mean, just having Vince Vaughn attached, but now that it's not old school or, Wedding Crashers, it's not comedy Vince Vaughn, it's something different, and it's like, do we want to put money into this?
Yeah.
And
you got a name to it.
Yeah.
You have multiple names to it. I saw this movie the first time. I wasn't a huge fan. It didn't impact me much. There were certain things that made me squirm, and like the description of the abortion, that was really rough to hear, but the fighting I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I thought Vince Vaughn was great, but I was like, I'm not a good barometer for this because if there's action, you can win me over pretty quick, and I'm aware of that. So like as a film, I was like, I don't know. Rewatched it the second time, I was like, I really do enjoy this movie. And then when I was doing my research, people love this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Critics love this movie.
Yeah, they do. Roper, New York Times, everybody
3.5 out of 4 stars.
Yeah.
Non-stop praise for Vince.
Yeah.
Which I agree. I always thought he was... I think he's great in this movie, but I just assumed it's just a movie I like because it's within our realm. But no, it's a well-received movie. Venice Film Festival, all that.
Yeah, and it's one that's not really... It's known through reviewers and, I guess, really deep action movie lovers, or not even action movie, just movie lovers. But it's not a lot of people that watch Bone Tomahawk, that watch Brawl, and have seen it and even know this world that Zahler's created as far as... It's not in the same, of course, timeline or anything, or in the same universe, but these little movies that he's made of pockets of just, like, fantastic. They're gory in some senses, but once you step back, and like you said, you watch it the second time, and you just let the shock wear off of, like, oh, wow, that was pretty insane. You see, like, the act that... How well acted that Vince Vaughn is. Like, we don't even know his backstory in this. And it's just like, you can just tell, like, he's a nice guy. He doesn't want to bring forth this thing that he has inside of him.
Because he's not, like, he's... I think he's someone who's abused women. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty clear. He's hit her before.
Right.
Because that's when he's like, don't come near me.
Yeah.
And he's just working to be a better person.
Yeah.
And so there's this Jekyll and Hyde, right? Like, he's the worst of the worst human that there can be.
Yeah.
And he has really no remorse for like once he realizes what he's fighting for, there's no remorse.
He has a code, and once it passes that code or gets to the bad side of that, he has no remorse for what he's doing.
He and his wife are junkies, or former recovering alcoholics, junkies. It's not necessarily clear.
Right. I think that she used...
And he was an alcoholic.
And he was an alcoholic,
so, they're trying to... all they're doing is just working to get their life together. Why don't we read just like a quick overview of the movie?
I got the synopsis.
Let's hear it.
A former boxer loses his job as an auto mechanic. It starts off timid, guys. And his troubled marriage is about to expire. At this crossroads in his life, he feels that he has no better option than to work as a drug courier. He soon finds himself in a gunfight between police officers and his own ruthless allies. When the smoke clears, Bradley, Vince Vaughn, is badly hurt and thrown in prison, where his enemies force him to commit acts of violence that turn the place into a savage battleground.
Absolutely correct.
And, again, it's a good synopsis. It's a fun one because it doesn't give you the whole kind of jarring landscape that you're going to see, because you get 3 acts in this movie.
Yes, you absolutely do.
You get like the heaven... I don't want to say heaven, but you almost get like at the top of the movie, you get a piece of Vince Vaughn being unhappy but then happy after the time-lapse kind of thing. You see this nice Vince Vaughn, they're about to have a baby. You see like the heaven aspect. You get to the middle ground, kind of the what's purgatory of being in the first prison, and then you get hell in being in Redleaf.
Yeah,
and
I think
everything
you're right.
too.
I read a reviewer that's compared it to Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
which I think so. It's just about this guy making his way through all the levels of hell and death, and he does it. I mean, he does it wonderfully. I mean, I talked about my personal experience. Talk about your first time watching this movie.
Watching the first time, I had to pause a lot because it wasn't just the brutality. It was letting things sink in as far as what was happening. And you watch things the first time, and I think when you watch a movie that you're a little excited about, you're always trying to guess what's going to happen. So you're not paying a lot of attention, or you could pay more attention to the dialogue of what's going on and really understanding it. But at first, I just wanted to see what is Zahler going to surprise me with as far as action and bloodiness kind of thing, and that's what I was waiting for. And then when it got there, it's like, oh my god, yes, this is awesome. The fight scenes, no music, just rough punching and just bone breaking and face smashing. And then after watching it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a great action movie. Then I watched it again because I got it on demand, had it for 2 days or whatever, and I was like, I'm going to watch it again right in the morning. So I got up early in the morning so I could watch it again before Megan woke up. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to everything now. And that's when it like impacted me as far as like, man, like Vince Vaughn is so good. Everybody is, but Vince Vaughn, as far as just showing this no remorse plus remorse, and then this moral compass that he has. And it's so good where it's just like this thing that's in his head that he doesn't want to bring out and I think that what really turned me on to it was the second time I watched it was the milks when they go back in the house after he beats up the car. His hands are bloody and he's just sitting there rubbing his hands together. You see his bloody knuckles, and she's scared, but she knows he's not going to do anything to her. It's like that scared, and she's just worried about she just cheated on him. What's he going to say? And he gives this kind of this story about, every day I go to the grocery store and I'm looking for milk. Yeah. And it's like, and I always end up picking skim milk or creamer because the labels are turned around and everything too. And he's like, you would just think by the law of averages, my luck would turn around and I would pick milk one of those days. And he's like, that's just not going to happen. It's like the world doesn't work. And it's like a great little story that really
sets up the movie.
Makes sense. Yeah, he's like, he just knows, like, once he's in this deep as far as what he does and goes further in doing, that this is it. This is what he has to do.
And it's interesting because that analogy that he gives of the milk, it's like the milk is soulless. The milk doesn't care how bad his day was.
Exactly.
They're going to be how they're arranged, and he's going to pick what he's going to pick. And 9 out of 10 times, apparently, it's anything but the milk that he wants. And it seems like he gives into that idea, especially once he realizes the thing.
Yeah.
There's no hesitancy to when it's like, here's what you need to do, and he's like, all right.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's like, my life's done. I think he accepts his death like 40 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, yeah. I think, right from the first conversation with Zoller, or not Zoller, Udo, the actor.
Maybe even when he decides he's going to protect the police officer.
Sure, that makes sense too.
Because
yeah.
I don't think he thinks he's getting out of there.
Right.
And well, that's not true. I should take that back because there is the court where he's like, I helped.
Yeah.
I did this. I understand. I'm pleading guilty. I'm putting
Yeah.
up no contest. So I'm going to get like 5 years, 3 to 4 years, whatever he thinks, and it's a lot harsher. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's as soon as the wife is in danger. I guess he's just not scared of anything.
Yeah. And it's like that he shows no fear because it's just this life that he's led or whatever trauma or anything bad that he's committed in the past has been so bad that he got a taste a little about kind of what he wanted and what he had, but now it's just he woke up this morning and picked skim milk and it's just it's the bad skim milk kind of thing.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll talk about Vaughn individually. So I don't know in terms of how this came across his desk. You were saying Zahler was like interested in him from day one for this. Vince is in the interviews and stuff I saw. He was thrilled with the script. He loved the script, and he worked hard on this.
Yeah,
and I like what he did for prep. He didn't get ripped.
No,
he just got big.
Yeah,
he put on a couple pounds of muscle and like a body that he would have.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's not ripped at all.
No.
He takes off his shirt like during the prison scene when he's going into prison, and
it's
it's
like a dad,
just like a dad bod,
like a built like that old man strength,
right?
Almost.
Yeah, but Zahler, like he loved what he saw in an interview that I found on YouTube. He loved what he saw, like as far as Wedding Crashers and the comedic part of him. But he's like, look at this. It was him and Vince Vaughn doing an interview, and the guy asked him, like, was it, when did you think about Vince Vaughn playing this part? And he's like, well, I've always seen Vince Vaughn as this comedy figure and this guy who can act in other movies and do drama as well with True Detective and other things as well. But he said, he's just look at him. He's just an imposing figure, but it's just being not wasted, but it's just being used for comedy for the most part. He's like, and that's what I wanted to bring him in for. And Vince Vaughn's agents, once the script ran across his desk, he's like, this is a good script, but it's pretty violent. And Vince Vaughn was like, he read it and he loved it immediately too. Yeah.
And he's everything that you wouldn't expect from Vince. You think about Wedding Crashers, the fast talking, nonstop hell. I sent you that clip from Be Cool.
Oh yeah. Him and The Rock.
Yeah, he's everything that you've never seen him be before. Like I've never considered Vince Vaughn a bad actor.
No.
Right? I think of The Breakup, I thought he had some good moments in that, and any other movie he's done comedically, which can be very difficult, he's pulled it off. I think of Swingers.
What was the war movie that he did with Andrew Garfield, right? The one who was the pacifist. He was and I heard he did really well in that movie too. I think that's what what movie he did. It was Mel Gibson directed too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't
Andrew
remember.
Garfield refused to
use a weapon.
Doctor, or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot what that was. But yeah, he's done great stuff. He was great in Rudy, but we could talk and wait, Vince Vaughn wasn't in Rudy.
He was in Rudy. He was one of the players. He had a little role.
That's right. Yeah. That's where he and Favreau must have met.
Yeah. Yeah, because he tackles Vaughn like in practice, and he's like puts him down to third string or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I love Swingers, and I've always loved Vince Vaughn, but the subtleness, the lack of doing anything in this movie that is normally Vince Vaughn, and he pulls it off. He's wonderful. He's great. And
when comedy does come around, because it does in this movie, it's delivered well by Vaughn, and it's a very just direct kind of answer on the comedy that it is.
That little back and forth he has when he's initially questioned by the cops, is great.
It is,
right before he gets sentenced, and it's just really well written, and he does it so well. And the fighting, I love the fight scenes because normally you get, I think of like Jackie Chan maybe, who gets hit a lot. He knows he's going to get hit, but it's sort of comedic.
Yeah.
And then you get somebody like Seagal who never gets hit. Then you get someone like Van Damme who, when he does get hit, it's like, and then he brings it. And Vince Vaughn approaches it because he never shows pain. So he knows he's going to get hit. And he uses it to his advantage because he can take a punch. So he's like, I know I'm going to get hit here, but when he punches me, I know it's going to set up something else. Right. And it's really fun to watch.
It is. Yeah, and like I said, I think there's hardly any overtone music, or there's no music that's played within the fight scenes.
No.
And it's just that great, just meat on meat kind of hitting each other, and just it's so much fun.
Composed by the director.
Yeah, Zahler, yeah.
which is pretty cool. And so he